Abuse survivors have waited decades for this moment, official recognition of what they've endured, and finally, an apology.
It was horrific. It was heartbreaking. It was wrong, and it should never have happened. I have read your stories, and I believe you. I am sorry that you were not believed when you came forward to report your abuse. I am sorry that many bystanders, staff, volunteers and carers turned a blind eye and failed to stop or report abuse.
More than 2,400 survivors shared personal stories with the Royal Commission of Inquiry, although the actual number of children abused was at least 200,000. There were accounts of sadistic violence, sexual abuse, and in some cases, the torture of vulnerable young people in state and church care.
I am sorry that the state's oversight of people in care was so poor.
But Chris Luxon's speech didn't go without a challenge. A lone protester was removed from the public gallery as he began to speak.
I know that this day has been a long time coming.
Mr. Prime Minister, it is your friend and brother Carl.
Out he goes. Remove the gentleman from the gallery.
Who has kicked Jesus Christ?
Where are the police and why aren't they here?
After Luxon, Labour leader Chris Hipkins addressed survivors.
We are sorry. Today, all of Aotearoa New Zealand will bear witness to the truth, to what survivors experienced, to our decades of willful ignorance, denial, minimisation, and to our conviction to end such horror and vile acts from continuing.
Preceding apologies from political leaders in Parliament, government CEOs and survivors spoke at the Beehive's main function room, the banquet hall. Chris Luxon attended that event for a time, but was not there to listen to speeches from survivors, telling reporters he had to leave to prepare for his apology speech. Lawyer Sonia Cooper, whose firm has worked with more than 3,500 survivors, felt that was appalling and says the Prime Minister's speech fell short of her expectations.
I thought it was incredible that he did not personally sit in with the survivors, the 4 survivors who did the apology at Parliament. I think that is disrespectful. Second, his apology at most was 20 minutes long. I think Chris Hipkins did a much better apology than the Prime Minister did. Yeah, I think the biggest impression that we were left with coming away from today was there was actually not a lot concrete for survivors that came out of today's apology.
Was it underwhelming, Sonia?
Yeah, and disappointing.
The Solicitor General Una Jargos also came in for significant criticism today. She was one of several government agency CEOs to apologise for their failings. The Royal Commission found the group she oversees, Crown Law, adopted a strategy to minimise legal and financial risk, and it developed an adversarial culture when dealing with survivors. Her speech was met with calls from survivors for her resignation.
I am here today to say I am sorry. I am sorry that survivors of abuse in care were not always treated with dignity by us lawyers.
And we were down at Pipitea Marae. There were people crying as they were listening to her, people walking out.
Survivor and former gang member Feke Taito said there were huge expectations of the government.
The most important being that the redress will include an outcome that will keep our mokopuna safe from any more harm. That is the one non-negotiable. You, the state, must commit to that.
Redress has been talked about for years. It was 2021 when the Royal Commission's interim report said the current system was ineffective. Yet today, still no action.
You gave hope and you raised expectation that redress would soon be delivered. It is time to deliver. For those words to have meaning, you and your government must act. Do the right thing.
The government says it will act on financial redress, but says plans for that won't be drawn up and finalised until next year. It's also continuing to respond to the Royal Commission's 138 recommendations. Work has already started on 28 of them. Keep up to date with the latest New Zealand Herald news by hitting the subscribe button below or head over to nzherald.co.nz.